Congressman Boehlert.
Mr. Chairman, let me ask a procedure. Are we just to have an opening statement or to go right to questions?
It is your choice. You have 5 minutes for either
Thank you very much,
or
Mr.
discussion.
Chairman. Ms. Hill, let me thank you for an excellent presentation, and let me begin where you ended. You said we are convinced that it is no longer a question of whether the intelligence community can do better. It must do better. America can afford no less. I could not agree more with that statement. Your summation of our 10 closed hearings and the revelation of information in the public domain is somewhat difficult to deal with because so much of what we've had, obviously, during those closed hearings has been highly classified. It's dealing with sensitive national security information. But it appears to me that the alarm was sounded not once but several times, but too many gave it a deaf ear. I'm not ascribing any sinister motives. I'm just saying too many were not paying attention. A lot of reasons for that: resource deficiencies, lack of adequate staff. Some of the revelations in your testimony are just absolutely mind-boggling. But let me ask something. Back in '98, when the Director of Central Intelligence declared war on Al-Qaeda, sent a memorandum to his agency people, was it a unilateral declaration of war? Was that memorandum shared with anyone but the in-house people at the CIA? Did it go to the FBI? Did it go to all the other agencies in the intelligence community?
We have been following that question in the course of our interviews, and we've been basically asked, we're dealing with a lot of the agencies in the intelligence community, and we're trying to find out how much the entire community was aware of that declaration of war. And what we're finding is some people were, I think, close, certainly senior levels in the CIA were, and probably in the CIA, but as I mentioned, if you go out to the field offices of the FBI, they were not aware of it. Other people in the federal government were not aware of it. The Defense Department people, we've interviewed some people there who were not aware of it that might have been interfacing with the community. So I would say it appears to be, it was the DCI's decision. It was circulated to some people, but certainly not broadly within the community. And what I find disturbing about it is that it was at senior levels, but sometimes the operative level, the level in the field, is where it actually is critical that they know what the priorities should be and have to be, particularly in something like combating something like Al-Qaeda. The field offices of the FBI, in terms of domestic activity, are crucial because they are the ones who are going to be on the front lines in the United States dealing with those kinds of groups. And at least in that respect, what we're finding is that many of them were not aware of that declaration of war, and some of them really were not focused very much at all on Al-Qaeda and bin Laden.
Well, I find that incomprehensible, quite frankly, because a key operative in our intelligence community, a leader, issues something as important as a declaration of war against an organization that is openly declared its determined effort, the fatwa, the religious decree, to destroy America and Americans. And that information is not shared at the highest level down to the lowest level, which brings me forward to the Phoenix memo and the Minneapolis case involving Mr. Masui. And I've checked with counsel to see if it's all right to reveal some of this stuff, because the problem is I have difficulty, and I've had for all the years I've served on the committee, in recalling where I learned the information I have. Was it from a highly secure, highly sensitive briefing, or did I read it in the front page of the newspaper? And so my practice has been just not talk to the media at all about this very important assignment. But we go forward to the Phoenix memo, which was sent up to headquarters at a time we had a declaration of war in the intelligence community, and the memo was marked routine.
Well, and it was not only at the time of the declaration of war, it was in the summer of 2001. It was at a time when the threat level was very high also.
And so the memo was marked routine, and it was given the most routine handling. It never got above mid-level. And then we go out to Minneapolis in the Missouri case. And that was treated in a somewhat cavalier, very routine manner. I fail to see how, with all the alarms that were sounded, why, well, we know there was not the proper coordination, there was not the proper information sharing. You have indicated some corrective action has been taken. Boy, God would only hope so, since September 11. But I would suggest a lot of corrective action should have been taken well before September 11. Let me ask you this. With our first two witnesses, Ms. Breitweiser and Mr. Push, and their testimony was very poignant.
Your time has expired.
That's a fast 5 minutes. All right, just let me finish the one question. If I'm in the middle of it.
We'll be compassionate.
Did you spend an extended amount of time with both of these witnesses? Because they both have statements that are forever seared in our souls. Some deal with opinion, other deal with alleged fact. And so, did you spend a good amount of time with them, and have you checked up on the alleged facts that they presented? And I'm not questioning those facts. I just want to make sure we're dealing with the same information.
I have met with Ms. Breitweiser several times since I joined this effort with the committee, with her and her group, and Mr. Push, I believe I've met with him once. I have not checked up on all the specifics in their statements because I didn't see the statements till we got those statements yesterday. But I've had a lot of discussions with them, and some of the things, that they mentioned I'm aware of. Some of them I'd want to look into in more detail, obviously.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.